Hello guys, and welcome back to the Breaking Butterfly podcast, or if you're new here, a very special welcome. I am so grateful to have you here. I am Maddie Maple, and I am a confidence coach and a business coach, and on this podcast I talk all things confidence, confidence in yourself, confidence in your relationships, confidence in making money, confidence simply in the creation of your life, aka manifestation. Like I said, I'm so grateful to have you here on this episode. Today's episode is going to be all about our divine paths and finding like faith in our divine journey, finding peace in our divine path, like wherever you are in your journey, because I know this can be very hard to do, and this is really what I struggled with for a really long time. I would say most of my teenage years was spent worrying or stressing about where I was in my life and feeling like my path or my journey needed to look a different way. I was stressed out about my like timeline, right? We all live off like these timelines nowadays, especially with social media and how the world is, and like seeing people's highlight reels and seeing everyone on their journey. It can be so difficult to just find peace in where you're at and how your life looks, because like I said, we think it should look a certain way, or we think that maybe our journey or where we're at like isn't important, and we just compare ourselves to everyone else. We compare our timelines and our divine paths to everyone else's, and it can be not so great for your mental health when you are always feeling like you need to be somewhere else. Like, how can you find peace when you always feel like you should be somewhere else or be someone else, or your life should look a different way? So my intention with this podcast episode is just to bring some new perspectives. I want to talk about this this metaphor that I always share with my metamorphosis girls, that my friend shared with me, that really brought like a new perspective to this whole conversation, and hopefully just help you guys find a little more peace in where you're at, because we all do have a divine path, a divine like journey, a soul contract, if you want to believe in that. I'll talk more about soul contracts in a minute, because I had like a huge breakthrough about this with one of my coaches. And yeah, we all have our own soul contract or divine path or purpose here on this earth. And what happens is either we can't see our purpose because we feel like it needs to look a certain way, or we have fear, or just like the comparison, or we're just clouded by everything in this world that we don't see it. But it's there. We all have a purpose. It just might not look how you think it should look, or it might not look like somebody else's, or it might not be what you think it is. But finding this purpose and finding like peace in where you are on your journey, I mean, it's everything. It's everything. If you don't have that peace, it's very hard to do anything. It's hard to move forward. It's hard to leave behind the past. It's hard to like even be in the present. I mean, it's just kind of hard to exist in general when you're feeling fucking stressed out about like your path and you think that it should look a certain way. So we're gonna dive into all of this and hopefully find you some peace and some clarity. So, like I said, we all have a purpose here, and if you can't see it yet, that's okay. It's a part of the journey, it's a part of the process, and we want to love that part of the process just as much as we do the success. You're not gonna find the success until you find peace in the process and get back into the present moment and love where you are right now, wherever you're at, even if it's messy, even if it's not what you think it should be, even if you feel like you're falling behind. Like, finding peace in that is what's going to help you find whatever it is you are looking for. I think it was like Jay Shetty or someone, I just saw this quote, I'm pretty sure it was Jay Shetty, and I'm gonna totally like botch this. I don't know if these are the exact words, but he said something like our happiness doesn't come from success, it comes from purpose. It's purpose and something else. He said something else, I think, too. I can't fucking remember, but We think that happiness is coming from success and achievements. We think this fulfillment is going to come from success and achievements, but it doesn't. It comes from living with a purpose. It comes from living authentically and finding peace in where we are. We all were sent here with a beautiful experience to live. We were. Doesn't feel like that right now because of all of the shit that is happening. You know, COVID really took us for a turn, and like a lot of clarity came to us because we weren't distracted by everything. We were able to like kind of see through the mud, I guess, and see that like, you know, not all of us are living the experience that we want to live. And now that that's been brought into light, of course, we have this whole awakening and people like going on their spiritual journeys and everything, and starting to realize that like, oh my God, I am supposed to be living a beautiful experience. I am supposed to be living a life that I want to live, but I'm not. Why am I not? So it might not feel like it right now in this moment for you in your life of like, beautiful experience, like what? Like, no, my life is so far from that right now. Everything feels like it's so far from that. But we were sent here to have this beautiful, beautiful experience. The reason we're not having it, or, you know, I mean, it's still always beautiful in some ways, right? It's not like, you know, for some of us, like the moment we're in our life right now, we might feel like there's like no beauty in it, but there's like always beauty in everything. But the reason our lives might just kind of feel like craziness and a mess right now and we're suffering or going through pain, it's usually because we are resisting what is. And it's usually because we are resisting the beautiful experience that we're supposed to be having by thinking that we're supposed to be somewhere else. So it's like, okay, so like where I was in my business. So I was at a space in my business where I was broke and I needed money, and it was really, really stressful for me. And I kept just saying to myself, like, you know, I'd look at other people and I'd look at their divine journey and their divine path, and I'd be like, oh my God, like, why can't I just be there? Why can't I be at the point where I'm making all this money? Why can't I be at the point where I have all these clients? Why can't I be at that point? And I found so much like, I mean, don't get me wrong, I was like really happy in that time of my life because I was enjoying that part of the experience, but this is just like the first example that came to mind. I was happy during this time. I wasn't like miserable. But let's just say, right, like I'm in that space and I'm looking at everybody else and I'm looking at their path and their journey, and I just start like resisting where I'm at, and I start getting down on myself about my path and my journey and how like fast things are going for me, how long things are taking for me, what it looks like compared to other people, right? You look at other people and they're like, you know, why are they making all this money? Or why are they getting this job? Or why are they finding their soulmate? Or why are they moving to California? Or why are they moving to Hawaii? Or why are they traveling? And I'm like fucking stuck here. And then we find so much suffering and resistance in that moment of our life only because we are resisting our divine path and trusting in our divine path and finding like having faith in our divine path. And we actually resist like getting to the next step faster because we're so resistant to the place that we're in right then. Does this make sense? Right? Like we could actually find beauty and enjoyment in every single moment of our path, and we can love it and we can enjoy it and have so much fun and have it be a beautiful human experience, but we're not allowing that to happen because of the own suffering that we're creating by being resistant to where we're at on our path because we think we're supposed to be somewhere else. Right? It's kind of crazy. We all are here for a reason. We're all supposed to go on a journey that looks different from everyone else. And everyone's journey is just as beautiful and enjoyable. Even if yours does have trauma and pain and suffering, like there is beauty and peace to be found within that if you accept it as your divine path and as your soul contract, and is like just accepting that that is your experience and where you want to be, right? You can find the beauty in it. You can find joy. You can find love. You can find like you can learn. You can find strength. You can like build off of everything negative that you're experiencing. Everyone's experience and soul contract and divine path and life journey can be just as beautiful as everyone else's. They are all beautiful. They're all divine. They're all planned out, at least like what I believe. So I used to not believe this as much. I was like very resistant to believing this. Like that we all have like soul contracts and that we like came here almost like with a certain like purpose or plan. I didn't want to believe in that at first because I wanted this like, I didn't want to like accept that like we didn't have free agency, which like I do believe that we still have free agency within our soul contract. Like we get to choose who we're going to be and what we're going to do, of course. But back then when people would talk about soul contracts, I was like, oh, like I don't believe in that, because I was thinking that it meant like my life's just planned out for me and like I'm not doing any of this, right? Like I don't actually have a choice. We do still have choices, but I want to tell you guys, so like my kind of like breakthrough about soul contracts, because I was struggling there for a little bit, and one of my coaches like really helped me like work through this. So I was struggling with understanding like, this is such an interesting concept, and it just like goes so well with like what I'm talking about, but from like a different perspective. So I was struggling because I had found peace in my journey, in my divine path, and like where I was. Like I have just like a lot of faith in like my timing and like my purpose, and just like everything that is happening to me or has happened to me was for a specific reason. I knew that. That's how I found like so much peace in who I am and where I am. And I do think that's what like helped me excel forward too. But then the other way around. So I started struggling, you know, when I started working with other people and helping other people, I started struggling with like not understanding why people wouldn't change how I changed, or why people's paths weren't looking like my path. And it's out of love. It's out of like this like desire and wanting to help others. Like I have just like people in my life, like just friends or family or clients or people that I just like, I love them so much and I want them to just like transform, and they are. But when it doesn't look how my path looked, then I get like not I wouldn't say frustrated, but I'm just like, I want them to feel the joy and the happiness and the love and the peace and the success and abundance that I like achieved. Not that I like achieved all of that to the max, but like from where I was to where I am now, you know what I mean? Like I want them to feel that so badly that like I don't know, I want their path to look like my path, and I'm just like, come on guys, like let's go, like do it this way, do this, do that, do this, do that. And it doesn't work like that, because their soul path and their soul contract is so different than mine, right? And everything we're doing in our containers, or everything I'm doing with people in my life, or everything they're working on, it's getting them exactly where they need to go. It's teaching them exactly what they need to learn. But the things might integrate at different times for them. It might integrate later in their path, or like later in their path, or sooner in their path. Like it's totally different than mine. But then here's where the soul contract thing comes in. So I started getting sad because I didn't understand why like I was living the life that I was living, and why other people, not necessarily my clients or friends or family, I'm just saying like the general population, like why do I get to find happiness and success when it feels like other people might not, right? It feels like other people might not. And I I had like a lot of just like confusion in that, and I felt like a lot of guilt because I do feel very just like grateful and blessed for my life and where I'm at, and I didn't understand like why other people might not be able to experience that in this lifetime. Like if you're empathetic, if you say like that you're an empath, you might feel this a lot where like you look at others and it just really hurts you to know that like others are suffering. And for me, I get like frustrated. I'm like, why can't everyone like come with me to like happiness and love and success? And I started to realize like some people might not find that. And that was just like really hard for me to understand because I want to help people so much. So the breakthrough I had, the conclusion I came to that my coach helped me with is like, everyone's here for a reason, and you can take what you want from this and take what you don't, because like I said, I didn't really believe in this before, and then it like it's just something I'm choosing to believe now. But what I'm choosing to believe is that everyone has like a purpose here on this earth, but we're all on different like lifetimes. Okay, so I might have had lifetimes before this where I did like a lot of healing, or I did things very similar to like what I do now. That's why it comes more naturally to me. Or like some of the breakthroughs that I'm having now is because of the work I've done before. So if someone isn't meant to like find all the success and be a millionaire in this lifetime right now, that's okay, because you might have that in another lifetime. Now, this was my problem with the agency thing. You get to choose. It doesn't mean that you can't have that success now in this lifetime. It doesn't mean that like you're destined to not have that. That's not what I mean at all. But everyone is at a different point in their journey, even over like different lifetimes, and it's not everybody's lifetime. Like if you have someone in your life that's just like really suffering, really hurt, maybe like caused some trauma to you, or just like it, whatever, they're just not like a great person, or they're not healing, and you just like don't understand why they can't, like especially when you're on a spiritual journey and then like other people aren't, or they're not like doing the things that like you do, you just don't understand it. Like it's just maybe not their lifetime, but what you're doing now is going to impact them now, and it could impact them for a future lifetime. So things that I share with you on the podcast, it might not integrate right now, right here. It might integrate in 5 years or 10 years or 50 years or in your next lifetime. But it's all a part of the divine process, the divine journey, the divine like timeline. Like we're all here for a certain purpose, and it looks different because we're all on different timelines and different lifetimes. And like I said, that is okay, and we can find peace and love and enjoyment and beauty in the timeline, in the lifetime that we're in now. And it doesn't have to look like someone else's, because they might have had 100 lifetimes before you. This might be your first lifetime. Like we don't know. And I know that's kind of like a crazy, strange, out there concept, like it was for me, but it's something that I'm like choosing to believe now, because it makes sense to me, and it brought a lot of like peace and like faith in my work as well. And like what I do and what I share is like, no matter what I'm saying, whether it integrates for you today or whether it integrates for you in 10 years, like it still matters what I'm saying. It still matters what you say to the people in your life, or the things that you do for them. Even if you don't see like the reward or like the turnaround right away, it's still impacting everything. And like we're all here for a purpose, and it doesn't have to look like crazy success or money or a soulmate or this type of house or this type of life. It can, and you have the agency to make whatever you want out of this lifetime, but comparing your life, your divine path and your divine timing and your divine journey to someone else's just doesn't make sense. It's not fair, because we all have a soul contract. We came here with a purpose, with like things that we needed to learn. I do believe like we kind of chose our struggles, we chose our trials, we chose what we wanted to come down to this earth and do. And it's, we choose trials to make us stronger, to make us who we need to be, to make the impact that we need to make in the world. Like I believe that I chose to struggle with my confidence for so long in my life because it led me to here. And like back then in my struggle, when I'm looking at everyone else's timeline and everyone else's path, and I'm like wondering like, why am I not farther along? Why am I not doing this? if I would have just found peace in where I was at and what I was struggling with and knew that it was just a part of my journey, it shifts the whole experience. Like I said, we all have a beautiful experience to be living. The only reason like sometimes we can't find the beauty or the peace in it is because we are resisting where we're at and thinking that we should be somewhere else. But you shouldn't. You shouldn't be anywhere else. You should be exactly where you are right now in this moment. One of my favorite quotes, I know I've shared it on the podcast before. I share it with pretty much all of my clients, and I'm going to share it with you guys again if you haven't heard it. My favorite quote in the world that I read that completely shifted this for me was a quote by Asha Tyson. I'm not even sure who it is. But she said, "Your journey has molded you for your greater good, and it was exactly what it needed to be. Don't think you've lost time. There is no shortcutting to life. It took each and every situation you have encountered to bring you to the now, and now is right on time." This quote, you guys, it's like everything to me. It's so fucking powerful. Everything in our life that is happening in the past, that, you know, things that have happened in the past, things that are happening now, it's all for a reason. It's all, you know, we all intertwine with each other. Some people's purpose, like, okay, here's like a really weird example, but I want to share this example. So what if, so there's a person and in this lifetime, they're supposed to like cure cancer, for instance. I have this feeling we already know how to cure cancer, but that's like a whole nother story. Let's just say someone is here to literally find the cure for cancer. But they fall into a depression and like they're thinking about not being on this earth anymore, but they have this purpose. They're so smart. They're supposed to cure cancer, but they, you know, because of their circumstances, they fall into bad mental health, they fall into a depression, and they don't want to be here anymore, right? They're thinking about not continuing on their experience. And then for you, in your life, right, you are feeling this urge and like where you're at in your path, like you're finding this this purpose to just like be nice to others, like literally be kind to others. You feel the inspiration to just like smile at others when you're walking down the street, to compliment people when you can, you know, to just be a little bit kinder to everyone. And your purpose in this life like could literally be to smile at that one person, to make their day, to change their mind about, you know, wanting to continue to live in their lifetime. Like you might smile at that person that's supposed to cure cancer and they decide to not kill themselves and stay on this planet. And then later on they cure cancer. And if they wouldn't have had you, then we wouldn't have cured cancer. I know that is like the weirdest example in like a very like black and white extreme example. But do you get where I'm coming from with like, everyone has a purpose and it might not look like this crazy like out there thing. It might just simply be being you, where you're at in your life, impacting other people. It's like a ripple effect. It's all a part of this like, I know, I feel like I'm being so confusing about this right now, and I feel like I'm kind of rambling and jumbling, but I hope that the message is like getting across a little bit. I feel like I'm a little bit all over the place, but I hope you guys understand what I'm trying to say. So if we can find like the importance in our path, no matter if we view it or perceive it as big or small or not good enough or not fast enough, or like I'm not, you know, I should be here in my life, I should be married, I should be making this much, I should be moved out, I should da 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 da. No, you should be where you're at and be in the present moment and find like peace and faith and beauty, and that is the purpose. Like that, you're gonna find your purpose, right? So I had this, you know, this whole just like breakthrough about this because I wasn't understanding. You know, I work with so many people on their lives and trying to find this peace in their life. And I just, so many pieces of it didn't make sense for me, but it all made sense when I realized that like our paths are supposed to look different, and they're supposed to, like, some of us are supposed to move slower. That's just the plan. Some of us are supposed to move faster, and that's just the plan. We still have the agency to change these plans and choose things and excel faster or move slower or go this way or go that way. But it's like being where we're at, we're exactly where we're supposed to be. You're exactly where you're supposed to be. And if you feel like you're not, you don't agree with this, like you agree with me, but you're still like, no, but I still hate where I'm at, like I should be better. Can you find the peace and the lessons in where you're at now? How I was talking about like in my business, right? When I'm like struggling to get clients, struggling to get money, comparing myself to everyone else, like, oh, she's moving so much faster than me, she's finding so much more success than me. What if I just like loved where I was at anyway and just tried to learn the lessons of where I was at and just enjoy where I was at? Like, because I'm supposed to be in that moment. Maybe you're supposed to be single by the time you're 40. Maybe you're supposed to start your business when you're 50. Maybe you're supposed to find like your passion when you're 80. Like, it's okay for it to be like that. It's okay for it to be like that. And so now to this metaphor that I wanted to share. So my friend shared this with me, and I always share it with my metamorphosis girls, and I love this metaphor. It's another just weird ass metaphor. You guys know me. But I love it. So he explained how life and everybody on this planet is a part of like a tomato plant. Okay? Stay with me. We're part of like a tomato plant. And every part of the tomato plant is important, but we're all very specific parts. So some of us might be the stem. Some of us might be a leaf. Some of us might be the whole damn tomato. Some of us might be a seed of the tomato. Some of us might be the soil. Some of us might be the sun. Some of us might be the water. Some of us might be a leaf. I might have already said that. Leaf, stem, tomato, all of it, right? There's so many parts to it, and we're all different parts of the plant. And they're all just as important. Is the stem more important than the tomato? Is the tomato more important than the soil? Is the soil more important than the sun? Is the tomato more important than the seed? No, none of it's more important than the other. We need every single part of it. But then here's what starts happening. We might be the tomato, but we see someone being a stem, and we're like, oh, I need to be a stem. Right? We start thinking, I need to be a stem. They're a stem, I need to be a stem. But you're the tomato, and since you're not being the tomato, the plant can't flourish like it's supposed to. You're trying to be a leaf when you're a seed. You're trying to be the soil when you're the sun. You're trying to be something else, someone else, somewhere else, when really you should just be you. No parts are more important. And it's like the funniest quote in the world. I wanted to make like merch out of this or like a shirt after like the first time I said this in Metamorphosis. I'm like, guys, why are you trying to be a goddamn seed when you're a stem? Like, why are you trying to be a goddamn like dirt when you're a tomato? And like taking that out of context, I think is just like the funniest quote or the funniest thing to like share in like a program. I just think it's funny. But guys, like, it's so true. Why are we trying to be somewhere else, someone else, when we're supposed to be in our purpose, what we're doing? You don't have to be like anyone else or more like this or more like that. You need to be more like you. You need to be more on your path. You need to be more in the present moment. That's how you're going to find peace. That's how you're going to find the faith. That's how you're going to find what you're looking for, is by letting go of other people's divine paths and where they are and what lifetime they are in and who they are being and what their purpose is, and stop thinking that your purpose and your path and everything needs to look like theirs. It's not supposed to look like theirs. It's not. And you have to stop telling yourself that if you were on their path, you would be happier, because it's just not true. It's just not true. You need to stop thinking that if I just had this, then I would be happier. If my path looked more like this, if I had found this success, if I had made this much money by this age, if I had found my soulmate by this age, if I had done this by this age, whatever, if my path looked more like this, if things were easier for me, if I had more success, whatever it is that your mind is trying to tell you that like if you were somewhere else, then you would be happy, it's just not true. When you can finally claim your path, your divine path, and your purpose and find peace in it, that is when you will be happy. That is when you will be able to step into your power and make choices and move forward. And until then, if you just keep looking at everyone's path and you lose faith in your divine path and your purpose, you're just gonna suffer. You're just gonna suffer. We are all worthy and deserving of having a beautiful experience here, right now. Even if yours looks different, even if you're suffering with different things, even if you're experiencing different things, you're experiencing that for a reason, because you're a seed, because you're a leaf, because you're a stem. And no level of success, whatever success means in your mind right now, no level of success is going to mean more than your own purpose, if that makes sense. Like, going after something that's not in alignment for you because you think that's what you're supposed to be doing and that's should be your purpose because that's somebody else's purpose, you're never going to find happiness and peace there. You're just not. You have to come back into your divine path and trust in it and have faith in it and enjoy where you're at, because there's beauty in every single part of it. There really, really is. There's beauty in every part of it, no matter where you think you should be. If you be where you are now and you try to be who you want, like who you are in the present moment, like, that's how you find peace, I believe. I truly, truly, like, the more I like think about and tune into this idea of just like the soul contract and like being here for a certain reason and experiencing what we're experiencing for a reason, it brings more and more love and abundance and success and peace into my life, and just trusting that everything we are doing, everything we are moving through and trusting in, it's all a part of something bigger. And that's honestly what keeps me going. That's honestly what has brought me so much joy and peace in the work that I do and the things that I share. Like, I know that it's all impacting the greater good, even if I don't see it right away in this lifetime, in another lifetime. And no person's lifetime or path is more important than yours. I promise you that. There is nothing that is better or worse. Society has put this perception that some things are better or worse, but there is nothing that is better or worse. What is perfect is where you are and who you are. It's for a reason. And if you can find peace in that, like, you'll find happiness. You will find peace. You will find love. I guarantee that. So, I hope you guys enjoyed these perspectives and this episode. I hope it brought a little more just like peace in who you are and where you're at. And I know that these things really made shifts for me. So I hope you guys loved this so much. And if you did, and if you have someone that you want to share this with, I would absolutely love if you shared this episode with friends, family, coworkers. Share it on your story. Make sure to tag me because I would love to see. And yeah, I think that's all for today's episode. I love you guys so much, and I hope you have the most beautiful week ever. And I will catch you guys in my next episode. Bye.